Good evening. We bring you the latest in the world of sports. I'm Paulo Del Rosario.
We give you the conversations you want to hear from your favorite icons and athletes. I'm Diego Dario. And in tonight's game plan, we'll take a look at Team Philippines representation in the FIBA Women's Asia Cup, and we'll also get updates on Gilas Pilipinas. But first, let's start off with the first PVL game of the conference between the F2 Logistics Cargo Movers and the Farm Fresh Foxies.
Buckle up, sports fans. Let's get in the game. And here we go. The PVL is back with its Invitational Conference, and the F2 Logistics Cargo Movers take the first win of the conference against the Farm Fresh Foxies, the new girls on the block. Let's break down what went down with PVL analyst Jamie Lavitoria, fresh from that game.
Yes. Or since the PVL is back, Jamie's also back here.
Jamie's also back.
Thank you, guys.
We're eager to get your takes here. Very eager. Interesting things that happened in that game. Of course, F2 did win that game against the new team, the Farm Fresh Foxies. But before we go into the X's and O's and really go deep into it, your first impressions for the Farm Fresh Foxies, because even if they went up against a team with championship aspirations, I personally felt that they gave a good account of themselves.
If there's one word to describe the Foxies, is they have the hustle. I mean, the scores were tight. They did lose in 3 sets, but you know, when you're under the guidance of Coach Jerry Yee, you're in good hands. And they did show it in their game. And they're also a champion team as well.
I mean, if you take a look at it, basically they're a rookie team. Most of their players are new in the PVL. But let's talk about the F2 Logistics Cargo Movers. I mean, they won their first game, and Ivy changing positions in the first game. Your thoughts on that, Jamie?
Well, in the last All-Filipino Conference, she was the open spiker for a bit because Myla Pablo was injured. So she kind of had a taste of that, but she played so well in this last match. And what confused the Foxies was her long ball attacks. And they had a hard time with the defense. And they weren't able to study her prior because she was new today.
Yeah. You know, you take a look at why players change positions. It could be a function of the personnel that they have in a team, could be a function of injuries or whatnot. Why do you think they moved Ivy from a middle blocker to an open spiker?
There's actually more attack strategies if Ivy is there, because not only can she spike in the open, but she actually can do combination plays that involve middle attacks. So because they added her there, Majoy Baron was able to play again and be a starter in the game.
Right.
So 4 months to learn the position, give or take, given the off-season. And what's your grade for her so far? Again, new position here. And it's hard to say that you're going to be expert on it in such a short amount of time.
I would give her a B+.
Ooh.
That's high.
Some room to grow, but you know, that's a high.
Kasi, you know.
And I give her B+ because offensively it's there, but in terms of, because she's an open spiker now, she has to do service receive, and she's not used to that. She has to play defense in a different position now. So those are the little tweakings that she has to do, but in terms of offense, it's 10 out of 10.
And before we move on to the other players of that game, personally, because in basketball, when you try to switch positions, you don't really see that. From point guard, you don't play center. But, you know, when you talk about this...
from experience?
From experience. I mean, I've never played the center, right? But, you know, Jamie, what are the differences between those two positions for the other fans? And, like, you know, how hard is it to do that in the PVL?
Well, if you're a middle blocker, you literally have to block everything, right? From the opposite spiker to the open spiker. But if you are an open, you just focus on blocking the opposite, who's on the opposite side. And they also play different positions in terms of defense. So there's more thinking when it comes to middle blocking. Not saying that you don't think as much as when you are an open spiker, but there's less to think about.
Right. Let's now focus on some of the debutants here. Let's focus first. Let's go back to the Farm Fresh Foxies first. Gail Pascual, only player with double digits, 10 points, 7 attacks, and 3 blocks. Good start for her here in the PVL. You take a look at what the Farm Fresh Foxies are trying to build. Where does she fit?
She's a leader on the court. I was able to review her and research a bit of her games during the NCAA season 97. She was finals MVP, and she was the best opposite spiker this past April for NCAA season 98. So she has the tools, she has the leadership, and she just needs to gel more with the team. I think that was lacking from the game that I covered earlier. Just the chemistry is not quite there yet.
And as a whole team, like, talking about the Farm Fresh Foxies, what are the things that they have to improve on? Not just, Gail Pascual.
Communication and patience, definitely. They can't rush the results right now because the talent is there in terms of individually, it's there, but when you mesh them together, they still need to gel more and have more chemistry.
Well, speaking about MVP caliber debutants, have you talked about Mars Alba? Again, coming in with a Finals
name.
MVP hangover. Yeah, that's a bit of a big name.
Yeah.
Finals MVP hangover in a good way here, but and it feels like mentally she did not look like a rookie.
Unfazed, I have to say. And she's also guided by Kim Fajardo as well. She was the starter from the game earlier. And I also mentioned this during the game that the confidence and the composure that she has, it's there. She's distributing the ball evenly. She's able to stay composed during the difficult times. And that's a sign of a good setter.
And usually there's always going to be that adjustment period when you go from the UAAP, from the college division to the pros.
That's right.
And you've played in both. What are the differences that Mars has to, face now that she's in the PVL?
Well, the UAP is a big stage, but PVL is a much larger stage, as we all know that, and the competition is much higher. So in terms of that, she has to adjust on gelling with a new set of girls, right? Because she's used to playing with her UAP teammates,
For
but
5
now
years,
that's
right?
right.
Yeah.
So adjusting to vets is what she has to do now.
Well, let's go to way too early, I guess, opinions based on their first games. Talking about F2 and Farm Fresh. Of course, F2 wanting to do a lot better. The last time around, they now look at themselves as championship contenders and look at their lineup, rightfully so. You take a look at their first game. What are your first impressions of them this conference?
I have to say that they do hustle as well, but at the same time, they're playing more collectively as a team. They did mention in the timeouts that during the off-season tournament, they were able to have more team bondings. So they were able to really secure that trust and that bond, and it showed in the game today.
And Farm Fresh, I think it's safe to say that no one's just going to walk over them just because
That's
we
right.
haven't seen them in the Europe, at least majority of them, just because we haven't seen them in action before. I think the quality is there to be seen.
There's definitely more to be shown from the Foxies, and I'm sure Coach Jerry, they're going to go back to the drawing board and probably have training later. We'll see, but I know they have more to prove.
Jamie, we really appreciate you coming here, coming
Thank
back
you.
on the show. You did a great job in front of your family here in the studio.
Stage mom and
Special
dad
episode.
recording.
Yeah, this is the most animated she's ever been on the show. Ladies and gentlemen, Jamie Lavitoria, maraming salamat.
Thank you,
Jamie,
guys.
thank you so much.
Thank you.
And after the break, we'll break down the upcoming matchup between our Gilas women and Chinese Taipei. Stay tuned. You're watching The Game. Welcome back, you're watching The Game. After a tough game against world-ranked number 9 Japan, the Gilas women look ahead to their final game for the group stage of the FIBA Asia Cup. Now joining us to break down our national team's performance is a former Gilas women's member herself, Danica Jose. Welcome back to The Game. It's been a while.
Hi guys.
All right,
Danica.
It's been a while.
Okay, Danica. So before we talk about the game, before we talk about the bright spots for our Gilas women, let's talk about this Japan team that they just faced and the context. You've gone up against all these teams, and how tough is it to go up against a Japan team?
Well, aside from the fact that they're number 9 in the world, they're actually number 1 in Asia. They're the 5-time defending champions in the FIBA Asia Cup. So you know that it's not a walk in the park to go up against a high-caliber team like Japan.
95-57 was the final score in favor of Japan. Again, not a flattering scoreline by any means. If you look at the positives, the Philippines did lead in terms of points in the paint, but then that really isn't the game of Japan scoring in the inside. You take a look at this Philippine team, though. The hope is that they don't get relegated. The hope is that if they win against Chinese Taipei, they stay in the top tier of Asia competition. Do you think that this team has what it takes to even avoid a relegation game by beating Chinese Taipei?
I think they have a higher chance to win the game tomorrow against Chinese Taipei, given that we're a much closer matchup against the powerhouse teams like Australia and Japan. So when they go up against Chinese Taipei, it's really a must-win for them to be able to avoid that relegation match against Lebanon, most likely.
Yeah.
So if they win against Chinese Taipei, the setup will be going up against the opponent on the other bracket, which might be New Zealand. So that's another tough team. But of course, you gotta think one game at a time first before we move on.
I mean, that's what Jack actually told me before they flew out. That that's really the goal. Is not to get relegated to the lower division. I mean, let's talk about the bright spots for our Gilas women. April Bernardino, Jack Animam, and Vanessa De Jesus played splendid for Japan in terms of their numbers. Talk about them and what they have to build on moving forward in the next game.
I think it's a good thing that Vanessa De Jesus wasn't the only player contributing to the game earlier against Japan, comparing it to Australia. It was really Vanessa trying to get everyone involved. And you see at the start of the game, Japan was leading by only 2 points in the first 5 minutes. So you know that we were still within the game, and slowly the Japan team was able to break away in the first half. But if you look at the bigger picture, you'll see that there were glimpses of brilliances from these players. The veterans were able to step up. April Bernardino, 12 points. Jack Animam, I think 8 points and 7 rebounds. So you know that they're going to be contributing, not just Vanessa. So I think it's going to be a collective effort, especially for tomorrow.
April Bernardino, again, you mentioned 12, 8, and 2. Jack Animam, 8.7 rebounds, 2 steals, and 2 blocks. And I think we have to focus a bit on Vanessa De Jesus because the quality that she brought to the team is really another level. It feels like she's elevating the team.
She is
definitely
yes.
to a new level. What does she bring to the team apart from the numbers? Because it feels like she adds something more in terms of an edge to this Gilas women's team.
I like her mentality in one of her interviews. I think what she mentioned was, I'm not here to score, to bring the numbers, but I'm here to get the team involved. So as much as I can, even if they weren't making their shots, even if there were a lot of lapses yesterday, she just mentioned that I'm gonna keep giving the ball to them. I'm gonna keep pushing them to actually raise the bar and be on the same level as her. So that mentality to involve everyone actually reveals who she is as a character.
And how special is that as a player, Danica? Having a player like that who's, probably played in the highest level among all of her teammates and, trying to involve everyone.
That's right. Playing for Duke Division 1 and NCAA it was really glaring in terms of the level of competition that she was bringing for FIBA Asia. And I think it's also bringing a whole lot of confidence in terms of the players, her teammates, to actually raise the bar na dito tayo pupunta, we are capable of winning, we are capable of playing as a team, because they've only been together for like a week and a half. So imagine the chemistry that they have off the court to get to know Vanessa as a player or even as just a teammate of the court. So at least it's something that they're trying to leverage on, given the experience and the competition that she's been through in Duke.
But she could always say that she wants to create, but she's a bucket. She's a hooper. She can score. Do you think this is going to be the way for Gilas Pilipinas to win against a team like Chinese Taipei?
Well, with what we saw yesterday against Australia, the ball shouldn't just revolve around Vanessa. Because if for sure the Chinese Taipei team have scouted the Gilas team already, they know that Vanessa will be a threat from beyond the arc. She can pass, she can score, she can shoot. So it's going to be a challenge for her to make sure that she's going to draw the defenders, make sure that they involve the shooters as well, and also on Jack from inside the paint.
You know, the amazing thing is that even if you watched the Japan game a while ago, if all the fans could actually go through it again on Pilipinas Live, you take a look at that, it felt like Vanessa was already scouted. As soon as she crossed the halfway point, as soon as she took a couple of dribbles, a double team suddenly blitzed her. Probably see something similar against Chinese Taipei. Do you think that right now, knowing that there's so much more gravity for Vanessa de Jesus, that Coach Pat now has more options into creating an offense that could get over Chinese Taipei?
That's right, and I think that this is the perfect time for the shooters to actually step up because the players like Vanessa will open the floor for these shooters. When she drives, she kicks it out. Castillo will be there, Pontes will be there, Camille Clarin should be ready as well. So it really opens up the floor whenever Vanessa de Jesus tries to draw up all the
gusto ko maging
defenders.
teammate si Vanessa.
Ako rin.
Hintay lang ako.
You know, you actually can. Okay? Okay.
Baka 20 points si Danica pagkampi niya.
My goodness. Pwede. But then, okay, let's lay it all out here. Kasi very tough losses. Australia and Japan, not flattering at all. There's no way to sugarcoat it. How does Coach Pat approach the team? How does he motivate this team to bounce back from performances like that? Sure, they've improved, but the scores still are what they are.
Well, from my experience, Coach Pat has been the perfectionist coach,
sure.
as he is for the previous years, even in NU. And how he is towards his players, it's mostly about personality management.
Yeah.
So when he talks to Afril, it's the same way with how he approaches Jack. So he would really talk to them intently and have like this connection towards these players off the court na what do we need to do? What do we need to adjust? Or what kind of play are you going to be comfortable in for you to be in a position to score, in a position to create? So he's that type of coach that if you work within the system, you're going to be able to adjust based on what the players think. Kasi sila yung naglalaro sa loob eh. So at least he has that type of insight from those players na I think, Coach, this is what works for me and medyo nahirapan ako sa ganito and moving forward for Chinese Taipei, this is, I think, what will work for us in the team. So that kind of relationship, it's not really a one-way relationship na dito tayo, dito masusunod. It's mostly about a two-way thing.
And lastly, talking about the magnitude of this game, you mentioned it. If they actually win this game, they will not have to go to the relegation round, which is their goal. So this is really a big game. Do you think Coach Pat is sumisigaw na ba si Coach Pat? Because my experience, Coach Pat is kind of that type of a coach. That's the way he motivates.
He's very traditional, even inside the dugout or during the timeouts. Dinig mo eh. From Australia to
from experience.
Philippines.
When Danica closes her eyes, you can still hear Coach Pat. But then, of course, hindi to chess, hindi to checkers, hindi to Scrabble. It's definitely the personalities that matter a lot. Danica, maraming salamat. Really appreciate you. Please come on over more often.
Okay.
Yes,
okay.
Thank you, Danica.
Thank you so much.
Well, the Gilas Women's will wrap up their group stage against world-ranked 33 Chinese Taipei tomorrow. Tune in live on One Sports and One Sports Plus at 5:30 p.m. to support our national team. After the break, we'll take a look inside the training camp of Gilas Pilipinas in Estonia. Stay tuned. You're watching The Game. As the preparations of Gilas Pilipinas shifts to a higher gear, AJ Edu stays patient with his. Let's get an inside look with our correspondent, Carlo Pamintuan.
With the team feeling a lot better due to a full night's rest, Gilas Pilipinas amped up their training as they finally did 5-on-5 scrimmages here in Tallinn, Estonia. The training day started with gym work led by strength and conditioning coach Dex Aceron. And even head coach Chot Reyes joined in the session. After a few minutes of shooting drills, the team then worked on their set offense, and the best way to do this was to scrimmage 5-on-5. In the end, the team composed of Dwight Ramos, Japet Aguilar, Kiefer Ravena, Chris Newsome, JP Eram, and Renz Abando defeated the 5 of 30 Ravena, Scotty Thompson, Jamie Malonzo, CJ Perez, and Junmar Fajardo. One player was still on the sidelines during the game as AJ Edu is still working his way back to 100% after spraining his ankle. But the 23-year-old knows that he only needs to stay patient and that his time will eventually come.
Yeah. I mean, there's definitely, that thing in me to really want to just be out there. But, I'm just trying to remain patient right now. There's still quite a bit of time. I've been not just sitting on the sidelines, doing nothing. I'm still taking in as much information as I can. And I'm just confident when I can finally get out there and get my feel back, I'll be really able to showcase what I'm capable of.
AJ has played for Gilas before, but it was in 3x3 and in the youth program. Now he's not only competing for a spot in the men's team, but his seniors debut for the squad could very well be for the FIBA Basketball World Cup.
Yeah, super excited. I mean, again, it's just such a blessing that my first game in the Philippines is going to be one of the biggest games ever hosted here. So again, just really excited and I'm really just amazed and blessed to have this opportunity.
The road has not been easy for AJ as he has battled through a lot of adversity in his very young basketball career.
It's pretty tough, but that's where I've been blessed to be around good family and at that time good teammates and coaches, and also my faith was really pushing me through that time.
Still, his belief in himself never wavered.
I'm just really excited for it. There's no pressure about that. There's no anxiousness that I feel. It's just wow, I've been given this great opportunity, so I might as well just take full advantage of it. I'm very thankful to have that opportunity. I'm thankful that Gilas still has a lot of belief in me, and I'm just gonna go out there and show why they believed in me.
It also did not hurt that a lot of Filipino fans never left his side.
Oh, that's huge. I mean, that's another big reason, I pushed so much in my recovery with each injury. It's just knowing, those fans have been, with me the whole way through, never gave up. Despite all those injuries, they could have easily said, oh, this guy's done. He's never going to come back, never going to amount to the potential that he had. But, they're still there. And now that, I finally have the opportunity to be on the court to represent them, yeah, it's just huge. I'm going to go out there and put my best for them.
Good job, everyone. Good job, okay? Here we go. Laban Pilipinas!
From Tallinn, Estonia, Carlo Pamintuan.
Meanwhile, the FIBA World Cup 2023 is coming to Cignal Pay-Per-View. Avail the early bird offer for only 550 pesos until July 15 to watch all games commercial-free and in high definition. Plus, get a chance to win authentic Gilas Pilipinas merchandise. Visit Cignal.tv for more details, also available to satellite subscribers. And that's it for tonight. Thank you for joining us. I'm Diego Dario.
And I'm Paulo De Rosario. This has been The Game.